privilege to have Mr. James Mpilei. Most welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
Mr. James Mpilei is an educationist with good experience in with the government as well as civil society on matters starting with education. On this program, we clarify the Kenyan education policy. So we'll be looking at matters to do with curriculum reform, business literacy project, as well as the activities of Sulaikan in as far as education is concerned. But I'll start off by giving off Mr. James. Give us a brief of your background and your professional orientation.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mpilei. As you rightfully said, my name is James Mpilei. I am an educationist. I am a teacher by profession, and all my background is based on education, both in the government and also in the private sector. In the government, I work with the Teacher Service Commission as a qualified teacher. Before I was promoted to the rest of the cadres up to the Quality Assurance and Standards Officer at the provincial level, at the Ministry of Education. So that's where my life has been, even among the other organizations that are private or the non-governmental organizations that I've worked with, like Compassion International, for example, and even So They Can. I still work with so much closely with the education department. Like So They Can, for example, I'm the community education manager, heading the education department in the organization.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
So you'll be telling us a little bit about what you're doing now, So They Can. But before we go there, I would like us to kind of dwell for the next few minutes on the matters to do with curriculum reform. I start off with a simple question. Why do we need to reform our curriculum at this point in time?
I think, Mr. Kamongogwa, it is in every Kenyan's basic knowledge that we need to see those who graduate through our education system, one, fit the market, two, being citizens who can really be associated with the Kenyan people, culture, and everything about our Kenyan systems. So I feel personally there is something somewhere that is not coming out well with our education system. And I want to give you a practical example. Our first national goal of education talks about national unity. That means all the people who go through our system of education are supposed to come out very clearly as people who are very cohesive, as people who love each other, irrespective of our other cultural backgrounds.
Yes.
But we have seen that there is a disconnect somewhere.
There are so many divides. We are around so many lines.
Yes, yes.
So how do you think the curriculum reform will address that?
Currently, I think we have a curriculum review committee that has been formed by the Ministry of Education, and I really want to thank Honorable Fred Matiani for that. He has really been somebody who is up to the task. So what does the curriculum review committee need to do? It is not really so much about how many years that a student should be in the system. It should be about the value systems that are tied to the curriculum. So that we get a curriculum that will equip the learners or the students who go through the same curriculum with all the skills and potential to really be who they were intended to be, even by God.
Now there are two issues there. You're bringing the element of productivity of this learner when it comes to the education system. Then there's the element of cohesion. Cohesion brings in the element of values.
Exactly.
What do you think is being or requires to be done in the reformed curriculum to make a difference from what we are having? Because it appears what we are taking our children through now is not producing that somehow. That's why we have accepted that we need to reform. So the question is, what exactly do we have to do to see to it that these kids or these learners end up being productive in society and also cohesive? They have some values which end up by making Kenyans more cohesive.
Mr. Kamau, I would like to say that our current education system favors academics as compared to other values. So what I would wish to see being done in the review system of the new curriculum is to ensure that the values are incorporated in the system. And they are actually assessed to ensure that at every level that a learner is going through, they have the required values for that level. And we really want to withdraw a lot from emphasizing on the mean standard score, the high, because we can have people who can score very high marks, but they have a rotten character.
Is that why we're talking about matters with competence?
Yes.
What is this thing called ability competence? Because when you say that the whole system is focusing too much on academics,
Yes.
you're talking about tests and passing examinations.
Sure.
When we bring in this other concept of the competence, what do we mean by that?
We mean that at any level, for example, may I talk like, for example, drama. We can produce students who can compete at a very high standard with any other level in the world, be it in music, be it in art, be it even in engineering. You know, like right now, I think we are producing, the system is producing, sorry to say, some kind of robots, even in science subjects. Creativity there is nowhere. So somebody answers a question according to how they were taught in class. But personal innovation and creativity is really missing.
But is it not because, according to the current system, there is no way of measuring and rewarding those other talents?
Very true. That in this case, I mean that now we need to also inculcate a way of measuring competence and reward.
Rewarding.
The rewarding system currently is basically missing. We can only reward maybe somebody with a high main standard score. But what about a very good dancer? What about that person who can do very good in music? What about that person who can be innovative enough and maybe is looking like wants to create the next type of aeroplane for Kenya? That kind of reward system is what should be put in place.
When 844 was being brought in,
Yes.
we talked about self-reliance.
Exactly.
When we bring in this new curriculum, we're talking about competence.
Yes.
What's the difference?
I think the concept in the 844 system was very good, but the implementation went way wide. So even in this, we can have very good concept, we can have things that are very nice. But unless we really make sure that we measure, we monitor, and ensure that they are inculcated to become part of the life of the students who go through the system, we'll still be doing a lot of money.
So in effect, you are saying maybe the design was good for 844, but the implementation was not good.
The implementation was wrong. The design was very good. The concept was very good. The content was very good. But the implementation went wrong.
So does it not mean that even this time around, when we design the new curriculum, we must make sure we don't repeat the same mistake?
That is
coming with very good intentions, but
thank you, Mr. Mbogwa. That is why, partly in my presentation of my views in curriculum review, that was done sometime back in Nairobi, I really insisted that those charged with the responsibility to enhance quality curriculum implementation must be answerable to the Kenyan society at various levels. What has been happening is that a few people have been running the show. Teachers have been having a lot of problems. And in this case, I want to thank the Teacher Service Commission and the Ministry of Education in general and the government for at least doing something to make sure that teachers somehow are brought on board. And our teachers, they also need to know that they are part of the Kenyan system, and they really need to stand to be counted when it comes to the implementation of the curriculum, because they are the custodian of the curriculum.
Very good. It means even the parent also has to be aware. You have to do sensitivity or sensitize the parents and also make sure that they are more receptive.
Sure.
I think we'll take a break for a short commercial break. When we come back, we will look at more and now the digital literacy project. Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome back. This is Education Matters. I'm your host, Mr. Mbogwa, and my good guest, Mr. James Mpilei. Mr. James Mpilei will now take us through the part of the digital literacy project. We are going digital. Everybody's digital.
Sure.
Normally, we like to be referred to as analog. So, what is this thing we are calling digital literacy, ICT in education, DigiSchool, in your opinion?
Thank you, Mr. Mbogwa. I think it is something phenomenal and very important to our education system, because education is actually supposed to address the dynamic issues of our society. Our society is dynamic. Currently, we live in a global village. We have friends all over the world. We need to talk to them without necessarily maybe taking a flight.
Yes.
So all that can be made possible through digital learning or ICT, information and communication technology.
Correct.
It is quite wide, but something that is very, very important. And that is something that should actually be embraced by every learner and any institution that would like to offer quality learning.
Correct. The government is in the process of deploying and rolling out the DG school, also known as the DOP. In your opinion, what are the advantages? Why should we go that way? What are the advantages that we anticipate to reap from that?
Thank you very much. As part of the learning process, digital learning is very important because there's a lot of content. But I want to say at this point that it should also be guided and guarded by the teacher. That's why the Ministry of Education or the government or any institution of learning should ensure that the teachers have the concept, understand how to make good use of digital learning before it ends up in the students. Because there is also, we know that there are a lot of disadvantages of it. There is a lot of substance in the internet that may not be very good. But there's also a lot of information that could help the learners broaden their database in terms of learning. Very, very important indeed. Yes.
Correct. Now the question is, are we ready for it? We have an e-ready student, an e-ready runner, an e-ready teacher, an e-ready school. Are we ready for digital literacy?
I think I want to talk from the background of the schools that I have been able to associate with. I cannot talk about the whole of Kenya. I don't have that concept. I think it's only the Ministry of Education that can give us that. But I may not be very sure how prepared we are. But I can also say that there are some schools that are really, really prepared. And I would like to kindly request the Ministry of Education to make sure that they narrow the gap of such imbalance, that you find other schools connected with the power and they are so ahead in terms of digital learning, while some of them are as ignorant as during the analog time. So the Ministry of Education has some assignment to make sure that at least every school must get the basic concepts of digital learning.
That brings in an element of equity. What happens when, for example, we have the government committed to deliver the laptops or the so-called tablets in public schools, but then in the neighboring academy and the other one, which are either private schools or the other ones which are known as the hub-based schools, the kids there, the children there do not receive the tablets. Are we not going to bring in an element of equity?
You are very right. I want to say at this point that really it's only the structures like buildings that would be private. Kenyan curriculum, whether taught in a private or a public school, is not private. It's public. All the children, whether they are in a private academy or in a public school, are public. Correct. The custodian of issues to do with education is the Ministry of Education. And they must enhance the laws and regulations to ensure that such gaps do not exist. So maybe in some very near future, for an academy to be registered, they must abide by such regulations, that they are ready to give digital learning, and actually the Ministry of Education to assess and ensure that there is the necessary infrastructure before any recommendation for registration is given. Yes.
Now the challenge will be those ones who are in now, maybe the ones who have been long existing and DOP is starting off, and maybe there will be budgetary constraints which will not allow the private schools to have a faster uptake of the DOP. What happens around that time? What do you think should happen to ensure that there is no disadvantage? And
I want to give my personal point of view. I don't know how possible this one can be, but it is something that can actually be followed up. Like for example, the Ministry of Education, the government, has declared that there is no KCP funds, KCSE funds. It's not just for public but also for private schools, for all schools. Can they also go an extra mile and say, at least that these academies, they should get the tablets, they should get the number of academies that are there, the number of students who are in those academies, because definitely they know they are within every sub-county education offices. They have the statistics. They can really come with a way of ensuring that if they cannot give all, maybe they can give a percentage and force the proprietors to make sure that they raise the balance. Yes.
Then we look at the challenge of the social media. Now, when we go digital, we have this. My understanding is that an ideal school will be provided with the tablets, it will be provided with the content, it will be provided with internet connectivity, so they can be able to get content from maybe from one central location, organized and managed by the Minister of Education.
Yeah.
But then internet goes or carries with it the potential of doing things online. Do you think the social media will play a positive or a hindering role in as far as learning is concerned?
Yeah, that's what I was telling you, that when we talk about a curriculum that is heavy laden with the values or value laden, it will go beyond the school infrastructure or the school fraternity. Because there are three different forms of learning. There is formal learning, non-formal learning, and informal learning. Yes. And in all those types of learning must take place. So it will be upon every person, every single individual to make sure that what utterances come out must be positive and must reflect good learning. So, for example, even some of the politicians sometimes the way they talk can be very detrimental to learning, because some of them are role models to some students they don't even know. And now when they say something different today and another one tomorrow, it puts the balance.
What they say is captured in social media and is widely distributed.
Yes, so now the social media also must now take into cognizance the fact that it's not only the adults who are watching, they are also children. So whatever really should come up in the social media should be something that is age appropriate and should be something that will not deviate the learning values of the learners or the students. So the care must be taken, and that's why I say I think we need to look back at our legal system, look back at our every basic infrastructure and what we are doing in and outside there, and make sure that whoever will be listening to whatever is being said. Yes, I like what the Bible says, that Paul was urging people that speak only that which will benefit the listeners. So if we all take to that whatever we speak, especially in the social media or anywhere, let it be something that will benefit especially the learners, because that is where the destiny of Kenya lies. Yes.
I'm also looking at this element of the idea of digital learning in terms of learning that continues even at home, because as we talk now, our kids are out for holiday and they'll be out for a long time, the whole of November and actually the whole of December. I tend to imagine that at the 21st century that we are, there are some kids who are privileged to have internet even at home now. The question is, are they using it as a tool for learning, or is it a distraction, kind of which shifts or clears whatever they have learned through the time? What do you have to say about that? So we don't limit ourselves to DOP in school. What about digital learning at home?
I always say, Mr. Mbugwa, in order for quality learning to be enhanced in any society, there are three people who are very important. Yes. The teachers, the parents, and the students themselves. It's high time parents also take responsibility at home and ensure that what will be available in their absence for their children is something that will build to their future, but not something that will be destructive. So much independence and freedom without responsibility is a catastrophe.
Mission statements of Shodeka?
The mission statement and the vision statement, I think I would like to leave that because my boss, the country manager, will be coming over to Elimu TV very soon, and I'm very sure he's competent enough to dwell on that. But I would like to handle on education, it is my department, because I deal with education. And one of the objectives of education is to make sure that the youth of both sexes, that is boys and girls, get a quality education. The quality education is envisaged to enable them transit to the higher levels of education and eventually have their their cycles of poverty broken. So we envisage to use education to educate those communities, but there are other programs that the country manager will be talking about that will go hand in hand with education to make sure that the communities are properly empowered.
Let me hear about the projects that fall under your mandate and as far as education is concerned.
Thank you very much. Among the projects, of course, education is very broad because it's about acquisition of skills, knowledge, and also change of attitudes. So basically we have primary education, which is very vital, and primary education starts from early childhood development. We have, like for example, our school called Aberdare Ranges Primary School, a very executive school.
Which I have the privilege of visiting.
Which you have visited. It was actually ranked at international level 1 by some education systems. So there at Aberdare Ranges Primary School, we have 960 students. 960 students. We have 120 of them at the early childhood development classes or ECD. And so the Kenya was able to employ all the 8 teachers for the early childhood development classes. They are all trained, they are qualified, a very hard working team, because we feel as though they can, that in order for us to talk about quality education, the foundation is very key.
You mentioned about the element of the target and the vulnerable.
Yes.
Would you let our viewer know exactly why you settled the Aberdare and what was the vulnerability around that Aberdare region?
Thank you very much. So the CAN was started as a result of post-election violence. A number of Kenyans who were internally displaced were somehow settled in a small plot around the pipeline area in Nakuru.
Yes.
That is now where the CEO of So They Can, called Cassandra Treadwell, and co-founder called Kerry Chitende, when they visited Kenya, they found that these people were almost looking hopeless.
Yes.
They had no hope at all. They didn't know their left from their right. So after sharing with them and conducting some meetings with the community promised to be able to give land. So after talking with the teachers' housing scheme, land was provided for about 5 acres. And they went ahead and talked to well-wishers, not just in Australia and New Zealand, but globally, which we are still doing up to now. And that's how Aberdare Ranges Primary School was started. Basically, 95% of the students at Aberdare Ranges Primary School come from the IDP village, and also some other village at a dump site called Gioto in Nakuru. Another place that children are really very hopeless. I wish one day you get time and you can go there and visit. You see children.
Are we coming back? I watched that clip on YouTube.
Yes.
How she was trying to, Cassandra was trying to help some girls.
Yes,
there.
yes.
I've interacted with it.
That is it. You can see children sharing a piece of dropped food from an hotel with a vulture. So some of those children were brought to Aberdare Ranges Primary School. Some of them are attending school from our village, called Mitimingi village. And as I said, Mr. Boniface Mouti, who is the country director, will be talking about all the projects. But basically, in terms of education, we have the primary education, basically at Aberdare Ranges Primary School. We have a youth program at the camp, because we felt that there was a gap coming up. Yes, we were educating those who are very young and who are at the primary school level, but you see there are those as a result of post-election.
What exactly do you do with the youth camp?
We have a lot of vocational training for them.
Yes.
We invite people to train them. A number of them, because of being depressed and stressed, ended up being on drugs. So we have a lot of drug abuse training and rehabilitation for them. And then we have a number of income generation activities that we train them on, and we leave them to start their lives.
Do they fall under the SU they can or not?
Some attend the See Women camp program, but the rest are basically in the youth program in the camp.
Yes.
We also have a parents training because we felt that one of the challenges that we have, not just in Kenya but globally, is parenting. So we have a very robust program called Skilled Parenting Program. We have a trained tutor for them.
How do you go about that?
We get all the parents, we start from those parents whom we feel their children are not doing very well. And it is because of parenting gaps. So we enroll them. But any other member from the community who would like to join the program is most welcome. So we have a whole curriculum for them that takes them a year. Actually, we are in the process of registering as a skilled parenting program attached to Aberdeen Ranges Primary School.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's the other program that falls under me. We also have the East Pokot program. In East Pokot, we got information from Uwezo, a program, an NGO called Uwezo, and we discovered that it was the poorest in terms of education in Eastern Africa.
Academic achievements.
Yes. So we really wondered, is this part of Kenya? So our CEO and the rest of the management from Australia were able to send some of us, I included, to go and find out. And as we talk, we have a number of schools, about 5 primary schools and 2 high schools, that we are working together. We have already initiated programs like leadership development program. You know, East Pokot is a very hostile area.
Yes.
Children grow seeing, like even what's happening right now, there's a lot of war there.
A lot of attention.
A lot of tension. So children grow up seeing a lot of bad things. So we have instituted programs like leadership development program. What can I do for my community? We have done very good programs there. We are also working with, in terms of capacity building for the teachers in those schools that we are working together, just to make sure that teachers are encouraged to they get to know issues to do with quality syllabus coverage. We are also working on starting a big program on community sensitization awareness on education.
Very good. Now, because of time, I want you to focus strictly on challenges. What challenges have you undergone? Have you experienced? And don't forget the success story that you have registered.
Thank you very much. I think, honestly, one of the greatest challenges that we have is that, as the Bible says, the work is so much, but
the workers are very few.
The resources, the people that we would like to work together. That is a very big challenge. The work is so enormous. We really sometimes don't know where to start. And that's why we engage Fadi Africa, so that they can assist us to see.
Do you do fundraising in Kenya?
We are trying to do fundraising in Kenya, and it has not been so much. We have been so much depending on the support from the donors and sponsors from outside. But we are now trying to see how best we can do. I hope even Elimu TV could also help us. Enable us to be seen, and maybe
this is one of them. I'm already doing that.
Yes, have some people come over and help us, because work is so much.
Those are the challenges.
Another challenge is working with really vulnerable communities is not easy. Some of them have given up in life. We have to use a lot of psychosocial support to make sure that we bring them back. The successes is that we are seeing quality education taking effect. Just last time, two of our students appeared among top 10 out of 7,000 in the whole of Nakuru.
Top 10 out of 7,000?
Out of 7,000. And imagine, these are children who are seen to be very vulnerable, and they can do that. That to us is a big plus. Another thing is that among other projects, you see, like my project in education could take a lot of time, because maybe they would seen after 8-10 years. But we have other projects that are really influencing economic stability of the community. It's very tangible.
I think the best thing I can do is congratulate you.
Thank you.
And I think Elimu TV is proud to be assisting with you. We will give you a lot of platform to make sure that you are able to pass and articulate your vision and mission statements. And I think I do hope by so doing, you have some more workers coming on board.
Sure.
Now I think we are winding down. Our time is running out. Maybe if you want to share some contacts, maybe people would want to engage with you. How do they do that?
Yes, we are on Facebook. We also have a website, but currently we have our office contact.
Give us the number.
My number, like for example, my number is 0700 647 775.
Come again.
0700 647 775. Whoever will contact me, I can contact them to the country manager. I can contact them to Australia, where most of our leaders are. So, but we are really hoping that somebody could come and we join hands together and do something that will impact the community, not just for now, but even for generations to come.
Through education.
Through education.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, too.
It was my honor having you on my show.
Thank you.
Another point, our dear listener, we call it a day for now. Don't go away. Keep learning, keep watching on Elimu TV. This is Education Matters. Watch and learn.